We all love to see a hat trick. Good things come in threes. Oh, yeah. Mo's here this spring. My partners at Rock Plumbing, Heating, and Air will simplify your life with an awesome hat trick. A 3-for-1 special for all new customers. Furnace and air conditioning maintenance with a water heater flush for only $199. That's almost $400 in savings, but it's for a limited time, so you have to book before April 30th. Just go to rockheating.com. That's ROCK heating.com. Rock, bringing comfort home and simplifying your life.
This is the Ball Corporation postgame show on the Altitude Radio Network.
Wrapping up the Ball Corporation postgame show, brought to you by Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks, Scenic Views on this Sunday evening now. Beautiful Sunday in Denver, Colorado, but not the most beautiful result for the Avalanche today, as they had a 3-0 lead in the third period and lost 4-3 in overtime in Vegas to the Golden Knights. And there's just one more game now left for the Avalanche in the regular season. It'll be this Thursday, April 18th, at home against the Edmonton Oilers. This game will be nationally televised on ESPN, 7:30 puck drop. Pre-game coverage on the Altitude Radio Network at 7 p.m. The Oilers can finish no lower than the 2 seed in the Pacific. They have locked up the 2 seed at worst. There is an outside chance that they could get the 1 seed and they could pass the Canucks. They would need to win out, and the Canucks would need to lose their final 2 games. The Canucks have 2 games left. The Oilers have 3 games left. The Oilers would have to go 3-0. The Canucks would have to go 0-2-0. Even 1 point for the Canucks, even an overtime or shootout loss, would get it done for the Canucks. So it's possible that the Oilers will have nothing to play for. In fact, it's probably likely that the Oilers will have nothing to play for on Thursday night. Will the Avs have anything to play for? That is also unlikely as well. But I suppose Nathan MacKinnon's pursuit of the greatest season in franchise history could be on the line on Thursday night. And that'll do it for us. My thanks to Jordan Berg producing this product, doing a great job as always here in the studios. For Connor McGahey out in Las Vegas, I am Mark Springer. Thank you everybody for listening this afternoon. For those of you listening locally here in Denver on 92.5, Between the Pipes with myself and the guys standing right next to me, Alex Ryan-Emmy, is coming your way next. It's a pseudo repeat of yesterday's show. Worst case scenario. But on the network, we will talk to you on Thursday night for the Avs and the Oilers on the Altitude Radio Network.
This has been the Avalanche Aftermath postgame show with Mark Bertinoli.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Network producers are Jesse Trujillo, Alan Baca, Steve Nelson, Mark Springer, Jordan Berg, Dan Tanner, and Cole Smith. Network creative director is Marky Lindemulder. Network production director is Steve Cassidy. Traffic directors are Megan Rose and Tic Tantiwangumpai. Network sales manager is Dan Stores. Network director is Kevin Shockey. Chief network engineer is Jason Gorodetzer. Senior vice president of the Altitude Radio Network is Dave Fleck.
You want a hard-working team? There it is right there.
This broadcast was a presentation of the National Hockey League and the Altitude Radio Network.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Colorado Avalanche post-game coverage continues now with Between the Pipes. Presented by Safeway. Download the Safeway app and get exclusive grocery offers and perks. Fresh foods, local flavors. Now, let's go Between the Pipes with Alex Ryan-Emmy and Mark Springer.
Welcome back to the ice surface as Casey Middlestat slaloms through center, hands it off for Valnichuskin, far side hash marks. Up top now for Josh Manson. He holds, backdoor tipped on, Mikko Rantanen. He shoots and scores. The Moose is loose. 41 goals on the season for Mikko, and the Avalanche are up by 3 with 7:10 to go in the second period.
That's where the fun and games would stop. Avs were up 3-0 with 7 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the middle frame. They would carry that 3-0 lead on the Strip in Vegas into the third period against a Vegas team without captain Mark Stone, without number one defenseman Alex Pietrangelo. And all three of those goals, that big, juicy 3-goal lead on a day in which you were begging, absolutely begging, praying, hoping for, needing some sort of sign of positivity, of confidence in this team. Your 3-goal lead starts to dwindle away thanks to a bad route from Cale Makar. Ivan Barbashev goes on his backhand, wraps one in that squeaks through Alexander Georgiev. The Avs take a penalty 4 minutes later. William Karlsson scores his 29th of the season on the power play, beats Georgiev far side off the blocker. And just 10 minutes after that, Karlsson would add his 30th of the season. A 2-on-1 breakdown, which Nathan MacKinnon identifies the man and then is late to go and find the guy streaking up the ice. Brett Howden makes the early pass. Karlsson goes short side over Georgiev. Tie game at 3. A high stick on Josh Manson with 11 seconds to go in regulation puts the Avs down on a 4-on-3 penalty kill going into overtime. And Tomas Hertl, net front tip off of a laser from Jack Eichel atop the zone is the end of that game. 4-3 in overtime. 4 unanswered goals from the Vegas Golden Knights, who will be the 8th seed this year, most likely in the Western Conference. And the Avs, unless Winnipeg loses out in regulation, and unless the Avs win in any form on Thursday against the Edmonton Oilers, you will be traveling to Manitoba to take on the Jets in the first round of the NHL playoffs. A long way to say welcome to Between the Pipes here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5, presented by Safeway. I'm your host, Alex Ryan. You guys know me better as Raj, joined by Jordan Berg behind the glass today. And as always, in a switched seated scenario today, my partner, my co-host, the radio machine, Mark Springer.
It was just more convenient for me to stay in this seat. That's really all it was.
I also didn't want to sit down on like a warm seat.
Yeah, that's always
unsettling.
awkward, right? Yeah, I may have farted in this seat, so
I'm sure there's been worse butts than yours in that one, Mark.
Not recently, like a couple hours ago, but still. Actually, I don't think I did, but there are days where I have. I'm not ashamed to admit that. There are days where I have.
You're saying you didn't soil yourself in the seat, much like the Avs soiled themselves in the third.
Oh,
today.
you stole the. You took. What a transition, man! It was right there.
I am a
right
professional.
There. Look, there was good. Like there was a response. Okay.
And then there wasn't.
So the third period, they're up 3-0, and they blow it. Look, some of that is now. What percentage of it is this? It's greater than 0. I'll say that. Some of this is that they did play less than 24 hours ago. And when do the legs start to go in the second day or night of a back-to-back? It's in the back half of the game. It's in the third period. See it time and time again. NBA, NHL. It's usually the second half, the back half of the game where the legs start to go. How much of it was also? Man, how many times have we seen the Avs play not to lose instead of playing to win? And with the okay, you're tired in the third period, the second day of a back-to-back, I get that. But with the taste that was left in your mouth yesterday, you would think that there would have been urgency in the third period, that we have got to close this thing out. And here's the story of the game. Avs ultimately get outshot 30-24. Now, some of that, actually none of that really, now that I think about it, was the 4-on-3, because here's your breakdown by period. Avs win the shots on goal in the first period, 11-6. Second period, we come away from that period tied, 11-11. Here it is, man. Third period, you're up 3-0. The Avs were we talked about the forecheck yesterday. It was much better. The offensive zone time, the discipline in the offensive zone was much better. They were actually living in that zone on the road. You like to see it against a gummit up team. Third period, Knights 11 shots on goal, Avs 2. You can't put just 2 shots on goal in any period. I don't care if you have a 3-goal lead and you're going to pinch back defensively more. That's not your game. That's not your style. We talked about the McKinnon hat trick in the Blues series yesterday. That's what got them. There was a game in that Blues series where they decided to play defense all of the third period, and it blew and it got them. This is not a team built to play that style. They have to keep it going. They have to keep forechecking and stay in the offensive zone. You cannot come away with just 2 shots on goal in the third period.
Zach on the text line says, everybody chill. Remember the Nuggets last year closed out the season very poor. Zach, it ain't the same, dude. I went over this yesterday in the show. It ain't the same. The Nuggets were the 1 seed in the West. They were the best team by far in the West. All it mattered last year for the Nuggets to do was be healthy going into the playoff run, to make sure that Jamal Murray was completely healthy and rested going into the playoff run. Nikola Jokic wasn't going to win the MVP. They were not playing to figure something out at that point. The Nuggets knew who they were. The Nuggets knew exactly who they were. They were just going to lay it down on the table and say, we're better than you, we're bigger than you, we're stronger than you, and we have the best player on planet Earth. This ain't the same. It's not the same thing as the Avs in 21-22 when they went 1-5-1 down the stretch, having already 116 points prior to that 7-game stretch. Again, I'm regurgitating what I said last night. They got 3 points in that final 7-game stretch, and they still came away with the 1 seed 2 years ago in the West. This is not the same. This is a team that is floundering, that can't hold on to leads, that does not show up in big-time games, and you were searching for an ounce of confidence in this club today. And it started off really good. It started off exciting. They had pace. They were pressing Vegas. You didn't test Georgiev, but he didn't let in a leaky one until the third period. You could argue all 3, you got to show up at one point, right? The defense wasn't good. Kale takes a bad route behind the net. You never do that. Don't go behind the net. Meet that player on the opposite side. Take the above route. Do not chase when you've already gotten beaten, right? So bad route from Kale, but it's a wraparound. It's a wraparound. Be somewhat of a professional goaltender. It's a wraparound. The second goal, power play, granted, but you weren't screened. Carlson is able to walk in and take a pretty good shot. More often than not, I feel like that if that's like Mikko, and I know Mikko's a 40-goal scorer multiple times in his career now, I feel like if that's Mikko Rantanen, Adin Hill makes the save, goes off of his blocker, goes into the far side corner. Maybe even goes outside, maybe even misses the net, and there's a 2-on-1 going the other way against the Avs. That's how it looks right now for Colorado. Then a 2-on-1 opposite way. Again, I told you, Nathan MacKinnon identified William Karlsson coming up the ice and then decided not to get on his horse. And before you knew it, it was too late. But at some point, like, dude, you need to make a save. You need to bail your team out. The team doesn't inspire confidence in me. The goaltending does not inspire confidence in the team playing in front of him. And right now, we're running a promo on this station where Brett says, this is the best, this is the greatest chance that we could ever have of having a dual championship parade. Get that thing off.
Whoa, hold on.
Throw that thing in the garbage.
Hold on.
Throw that promo in the garbage. This team inspires zero confidence in me. Again, I will say this. I would be just as surprised if the Avs got swept in the first round or if they won the West. I don't know what this team is. I have no idea who they are. No clue, Mark.
I understand. I don't disagree. Look, texter Zach, I am more in your camp than Raj is. Again, we're on a slippery slope here of repeating yesterday's show. And man, I did not want to do a repeat of yesterday's show. And look, it's funny. Like if you just woke up from your afternoon nap right now and you just looked at the score and saw 4-3 overtime loss, you'd be like, okay, because look,
step in the right direction.
Look, Vegas is the 8th seed. I hope they get the 8th seed. I guess it's kind of a win either way. If they're the 8th seed, they're playing Dallas. If they're the 3 seed in the Pacific, they're playing Edmonton. And look, I'm more of a believer in Dallas than I am Edmonton. And I know Edmonton is, right there with Colorado. Edmonton and Colorado are the 2 favorites to win the West. I am a line believer. I am an odds believer, but there are times where I'll look at teams and I'll say, I don't think so. And Edmonton's one of those teams. I believe in Dallas more, so I'd love to see Vegas-Dallas to get one of those 2 teams the hell out of there. You helped Vegas get closer to the 3 seed, and you helped us avoid or get closer to avoiding Stars Knights. If it's Knights Oilers, okay, that's a baby version of that. I'll take that. But it's not like Vegas, even though they're the 8th seed right now. I've said it all season long. I think the Knights and the Avs are the most dangerous teams in the West. Now, what Colorado has given us in the last 11 games, because they're now 10 games. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10 games. It's not good. It's not good, but I maintain, again, if you woke up and you just saw 4-3 in overtime, you'd be like, wow, that's a solid bounce back game. Then you dig a little deeper. Then you dig a little deeper and look at when the goals were scored, and you say, oh no, they blew the 3-0 lead.
Right.
But again, the final, it was 4-3 in overtime, so
it should not be, you should not be looking at it, again, this is a team that is expected to be a Stanley Cup favorite every single year. And you just said, right, they are the 2nd favorite to win the West behind Edmonton right now. And neither one of those teams is going to be a top 2 seed, right?
Yeah, I don't look, it's been back. Like Colorado's been the favorite this week. I don't know where it is right now. I'm charging my phone. I don't have it. Maybe Edmonton has sneaked back as the slight favorite, but it's either Edmonton or Colorado. Those are your favorites to win the West, according to the odds makers.
If you are a favorite to win the West, we should not be looking at Game 81 silver lining losses. I should not be making excuses for this team right now.
But we can't, the thing is, though, and look, everything you're saying is right. Okay?
Kills me. I know who they are,
just because it's been bad doesn't mean it will continue to be bad.
That is true, right? And I'll continue to say this. I would be, because I don't know what team I'm going to get come April 20th or 21st, the team that shows up there is the team that could outscore anyone in the league, and they could win in 5 or 6 games. But because it's in recent memory and it's happened so many times this year, it would be one thing if this was just a one-off for this team, but it's not a one-off. We've seen it so many times where they go in these lulls, these dips where they can't hold leads or they don't show up to big games. It's now the 3rd or the 4th time where they've done this in this season alone, right? So am I going to get the team that went into Vancouver and went into Edmonton and beat both of those teams on the road? Or am I going to get the team that loses 7-0 to Vegas and then loses 7-0 to Dallas? I don't know what club is going to be there, which is why I'll always go back and say, I will not be surprised if they beat Winnipeg in 5 or 6 games or if they get swept out of the building. I will not be surprised if they win the West or if they don't get out of the first round, because this team is Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know who they are. There's no consistency whatsoever. And when I say I don't know who they are, it's I don't know what they're going to give me on the ice any given day. I do know who this team is. This team is the Edmonton Oilers of 2 years ago. They have to hope that they don't run into a team that plays consistent defense, and they have to hope that they outscore every one of their opponents. And when you run into a juggernaut like Edmonton did 2 years ago against Colorado, you get exposed in the Western Conference Final. They outscored their opponents through the first 2 rounds of that playoff series. Then they ran into a juggernaut. Colorado can do the same thing. You can outscore all of your opponents. You just have to hope that some of these behemoths get knocked off. and you get the proper matchup at the proper time in the Western Conference Final. That's who I think they are this year. They defend just as poorly as Edmonton did 2 years ago. They have just as crap goaltending as Edmonton did 2 years ago. Spot the difference. Tell me the difference. They're the same hockey team.
Here's a text from Big Daddy C. Big Daddy C on the text line says, Winnipeg plus 135 to win the first round. I put money down on it. Georgie is horrible. They need to move him in the offseason. And I said yesterday, okay, they got crushed 7-0 to the Jets. The Avs haven't looked good of late. It's somewhat continued today. Not entirely, but somewhat. So if what you have seen from the Avs, if this poor play over the past week or two is your barometer, and it's a fair barometer because it's our eyeballs with what we've seen, okay? If that has convinced you that the Avs are toast, then go bet Winnipeg. Big Daddy C on the text line is going to go bet Winnipeg. Here's my thing, and it's unfortunate that what we see, that our eyeballs don't match up with what our eyeballs have also told us in the past. What we're seeing of late is not matching up with what we've seen for the bulk of this season, even last season, certainly the season before, okay? And that's just understanding what this team is and what this team is capable of. I know I've said it a lot, but for me, it's Chiefs theory, okay? It's Chiefs theory. That as long as you have the dudes, as long as you have the metal, what's the difference between the Avs this season and the Oilers from last season, 2 seasons ago? McKinnon's won a cup. Makar's won a cup. Rantanen's won a cup. They're in their prime. Nichushkin's won a cup.
I'll give you that.
They've been there. They've done that.
I'll give you that.
They did respond today. I think this team does play their best when they have been handed an easy to read message, a crystal clear message. There's no crystal clearer message than what they got yesterday.
The legs may have just fallen off at the end of this game, and then you just needed your goalie to make a save, and he did what he's done the entire season and not make a save.
So it's a battle between what we've seen of late versus what we know this team can be. What wins out? What the team is playing like right now? Or do they flip the switch like the Kansas City Chiefs did?
Again, and I think it's a very good comparison you make. My negativity right now and my poison that I've been spitting into the microphone for the better part of 2 weeks now? Week and a half? Mm-hmm. Certainly the last couple of days. Where that is born is simply the lack of consistency. It does not mean that I'm one of those people that say they're toast. I'm not. I will not do that. But as compared to previous years, where I will give you a glowing assessment and a very boisterous assessment of how confident I am in this team going into the postseason, I will not do that this year. I will not do that. I'm not going to jump off the bandwagon and say that they're toast, they're goners. I won't do that. I think that's disingenuous as well. But I will not. I mark my words right now, Spring. I will not grandstand for this team going into the postseason saying, if you're not on board, you're the idiot. Because I don't know what team is going to show up 7 days from right now. Nobody does. No, the locker room doesn't even know what team's going to show. The head coach doesn't know what team he's going to get in 7 days.
Sure. No. Yes. So me saying right now that I'm sticking with the Avs to beat the Jets, it's a leap of faith pick. It's not a what I've seen over the past 2 weeks pick. No, it's a leap of faith. It's I'm just going to bet that when push comes to shove, McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen, etc., will figure it out. So, for example, like the Winnipeg Jets had just lost 6 in a row, then they just won, or they lost 6 in a row, then they won 6 in a row. Their 6 being yesterday in Denver. So they lost 6 in a row. I bet if you're in Winnipeg, it's like, oh my God, they're losing it. Hey, psych, they got it back. Okay. But like if the Jets were struggling right now, if they had continued to struggle, let's say they lost 10 in a row, I'd be like, bro, I don't have faith that Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor are going to turn it around. I don't. But with the Avs, I can say it's McKinnon, it's Makar, it's Rantanen. And I know that I'm not going off of what I've seen recently, if I was, I'd be bearing this team. It's quite simply it's a leap of faith thing with the Avs right now. But okay, that's for us picking things. That's for us prognosticating things. Their ticket is punched. They're in the playoffs. Playoff hockey's supposed to be fun.
Oh, it'll be fun.
Is this going to be any fun for anybody?
It'll be fun. I'll enjoy it. Again, I said this a couple of weeks ago. This is uncharted territory with this Avs team. Right? Other than the 8 seed year where they got in and they boat raced Calgary.
Cale Makar's debut.
Cale Makar's debut. They beat Calgary as an 8 seed. They get bounced in the second round on a wild offside review that doesn't go their way against San Jose in San Jose's last-ditch effort to win a cup with that core. And after that season, I think you knew what the team was going in. You had expectations for that team going in. Year after year after year. The subsequent 2 seasons getting bounced in the second round. The Stanley Cup playoff run the year after that. And then even last year when they lose in 7 games to Seattle, you knew what the team was. They just happened to not be healthy, and then they lost one of their most important players on the roster due to extracurricular shenanigans. And had you had those guys in, you win the first round, and who knows what could happen. This is uncharted territory. It will be fun. Again, I don't know what's going to happen. They could turn it on. They could be playing possum right now for all I know, right? You get everyone in Winnipeg all juiced up, right? I made myself look like an idiot. I went on Seattle radio 3 days before that series, and I went, Colorado's going to get these guys in 5. Like, really good story, Seattle. I think you're doing it the right way, but you just don't have it. And I think Winnipeg radio could be doing the same thing. You look at Colorado, they look like crap. They don't show up to big games. And then, boom, game 1, you lose 5-1, and Hellebuck gets shelled, and Justus Onanen stops 28 out of 29. I'll speak it into existence. And you lose your home ice advantage in game 1. Like, it could very well happen.
Well, to that sentiment, again, I'm going to try to look for the positives here. Guys, I know I might sound like I'm reaching, okay? We were confident going into the Kraken series last year. There's not a lot of confidence going into the Jets series.
Yeah,
maybe the Avs are that team where the less that they are believed in, the more of an underdog that they are, even though they are going to be favorites. They're going to be road favorites in this Jets series. But from their local fan base, I mean, they are underdogs.
Oh, the fan base here is as negative as I've ever seen it. And again, I think I said this probably like 4 or 5 shows ago that it's amazing that when you and I go and do like radio hits on other hockey markets around the country, that everyone talks about the Avs from like a state of fear. Like, oh God, we don't want to see Colorado in the playoffs because what happens if this sleeping dragon awakens, right? That is the thought process that comes from every market that I have talked in, whether it's Winnipeg or Edmonton or I talked in St. Louis. They're obviously not making the playoffs this year, but everyone goes, oh no, oh crap, what happens if they actually figure it out and turn it on? You don't want to be the team that they figure it out against. Here in Colorado, it doesn't feel great. And I'm sorry, I've been sucked into that because the team doesn't inspire confidence in me right now.
I'm sure nationally, too, over the past couple weeks, it has dipped a little bit in terms of people picking the Avs. And then yesterday, I mean, Winnipeg, one thing that I thought as that game was finishing up towards the end of the game is, man, now the Jets believe. Now they swept. Not only did they sweep the season series, but they just beat you 7-0 in your building.
17-4 was the aggregate score from the games this year.
So they believe, and the Avalanche, that's what they were. They were the scary team that nobody wanted to face. The team you wanted to avoid the least. We said it all season long, and I'm sure some of that still existed and might even still exist, but for Winnipeg specifically, like some of that, if not all of that, has been erased. Now, that being said, how on their high horse are they? Are they overconfident? Because there's a difference between having belief you can beat the Avs and now all of a sudden thinking, Avs are a joke. we're gonna crush these dudes. Now be careful with that, because look, people writing the Avs off last night, and they get up 2-0. They get up 3-0. If you write the Avs off because of their personnel, I mean, they can make you eat those words. But this really could go either way. Like, this is the thing.
Anything could happen.
Nobody knows. Are they going to flip the switch, or is this who they are? I'm making the argument for one side. Raj is more on the other side. But at the end of the day, we don't know. And it's going to be fascinating to watch the Avs and Jets in these playoffs.
He's Mark Springer. I'm Alex Ryan. Between the Pipes, presented by Safeway, rolls along on the other side. Avs fall in overtime 4-3 after surrendering a 3-goal lead.
Did you know that 1 in 10 Coloradans has unclaimed property, like unpaid wages or uncashed checks? Now you have the power to claim your property thanks to the Great Colorado Payback. The process is simple and secure. First, find yourself by typing in your name. Then, we'll guide you through the identity verification process. Once we know it's you, we'll mail you a check. Get back what's yours. Visit colorado.findyourunclaimed.property.com to get started.
Brought to you by the Colorado Department of Treasury and the Colorado Broadcasters Association.
McKinnon! He scores!
Avs faithful, do you want to take the first step in becoming a Colorado Avalanche season ticket member? Memberships are sold out at this time, so the best chance to get one is by placing your deposit and joining the A-List membership waitlist. The A-List membership provides exclusive member benefits, including pre-sale access to playoff tickets. Head to coloradoavalanche.com/waitlist to learn more.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real, lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
I was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics at 719-581-6626 for a free consultation. Locations in Superior, Aurora, and Colorado Springs.
It takes professional hockey players years of training and dedication to become so skilled at their profession that they make it look easy. The same can be said for the team at Plum Pros Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Drains. For over 20 years, Plum Pros has been providing Denver with good old-fashioned service, combined with the skill and expertise it takes to make their job look easy. For heating, cooling, plumbing, and drains, call Plum Pros today at 303-430-1911 or go to plumprosinc.com.
I got a nightmare phone call that no parent wants to receive.
Someone hit me going 60 miles an hour.
Dr. Ramos came highly recommended. When I showed him the x-rays, he immediately knew exactly what was wrong.
We've had a tremendous experience with Ramos Law. Really, I could not be happier.
Having the car accident was an accident. Finding Ramos Law was no accident.
Injured in a car accident? Ramos Law can help. RamosLaw.com.
Kreckman and Lindahl will be right back.
You want a dangerous fat guy snack? Have you seen these Muddy Buddies from Chex Mix?
If you have Health First Colorado, Colorado's Medicaid program, or Child Health Plan Plus, also known as CHIP, eligibility reviews are resuming. Have you changed your phone number or email address in the last 3 years? Have you moved? It's important we're able to reach you. Go to keepcocovered.com to learn how to update your contact information. Get notified when it's your time to renew by updating your communication preferences. Some members will be automatically renewed. Others will receive renewal paperwork that must be completed, signed, and returned right away. If you need help completing your paperwork, contact your county Human Services Department. Don't risk a gap in your health coverage. Learn more at keepcocovered.com. Brought to you by the Department of Healthcare Policy and Financing and the Colorado Broadcasters Association.
Colorado Avalanche hockey. You're Between the Pipes. Presented by Safeway on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
McKinnon swings it near side for Drouin. Fumbled it for a moment, stays with it, takes a hit, makes a play. Continued down the boards by Arturi Lehkonen. Puck on its edge. Hit thrown by Nathan McKinnon. Oh, he's an absolute bull. Look out as he ran right over Noah Hannafin. What a hit by the Mack truck.
Avs fall 4-3 to the Vegas Golden Knights. Had a 3-0 lead going into the third period. 2 goals from Wild Bill Karlsson. Scores his 29th and 30th of the year. And then tipped home the trade deadline acquisition because San Jose just apparently wants to be buddies with their Pacific Division rivals and give away Tomas Hertl essentially for free. Tips in a Jack Eichel shot in the power play. 3 consecutive Josh Manson penalties come back to bite the Avs. But the big story today, and the big story from head coach Jared Bednar, is this. And I will pull off my best Scott Hastings impression for a spring right here, where I will just simply play the audio into the microphone.
I mean, I thought he played a good hockey game, but like he's got to come up with a save, you know, like he has to come up with a save on if we have a breakdown, penalty kill, to come up with a big save for the guys, you know, and you know, they hit a couple posts and they scored some goals, you know, like we're going to need a big save from time to time in order to win hockey games, especially ones like that.
Obviously the audio not fantastic there, but Jared Bednar going on to say that his team, his goaltender needs a save from a big-time situation. I can't figure out how to turn the audio off on my phone.
For some reason, we didn't get the live feed, so that was the best we could do. Interesting comments, though.
The comments, he went back to the well. He said, we need him to make a save. But then he went back to the well, and he added 2 more words in. He said, he needs to make a big-time save for the guys. And what that screams to me is that Georgiev has lost the confidence of the room. And while the team in front of him is not playing well defensively, and they didn't play well defensively for a guy in Justus Annunen when he came in relief in the Winnipeg game, right? They played like crap in front of him as well, but the game was already over at that point, right? By the time Justus comes into that game, you are toast, you're dead in the water. What that tells me is that the room has lost confidence in the goalie. And you can't, it would be negligent of Jared Bednar and company to start Alexander Georgiev in game 1 of the playoffs against the Winnipeg Jets. It needs to be Justus Annunen's net, not necessarily because he's the better goaltender, because I don't know if he is at this point, but because the team will appreciate that change. The team will appreciate Georgiev being held accountable for not bailing them out. It's not all his fault. But you need a guy to make a save every once in a while. If you're playing like crap, you need a guy behind you that you know 2-on-1, he's got it. Power play, we take it a really bad time, he's got it. Vegas is pinning us in our own end for 10 straight minutes in the third period. This guy's going to make sure that he doesn't let the third one in. But he does. There's a reason why he has the funniest nickname in the history of Colorado sports. Forgiev is outright funny.
It's a great nickname.
It's outright funny. And I don't think the locker room has confidence in the guy, and that I think it's the reason why you start the rookie. And if he gets shelled in game 1, you go back to the vet because it's easier for a veteran to step into that role and say, hey, I'm the superhero here. I can be the one. Let me take you to the promised land. I'll always go back to the Washington Capitals when they won a cup. Start the kid. And if he fails, if he falls flat on his face and you lose game 1, you were supposed to lose game 1. You're on the road. True. Georgiev can come in later. It's way harder for you to show up in game 1 and Winnipeg boat races you. And Georgiev's one of the main reasons why. And then you throw in a kid who has fewer than 25 starts to his name in the NHL. And now that guy's got to go in down 1-0 as a Stanley Cup favorite. He's got to come in and save the day. That ain't the way to do it.
That's good logic. No, I agree with that. It's funny because we did like an hour 15, a solid amount over an hour BTP yesterday, and I wanted to bring up the goaltending, specifically who was going to start tomorrow, which is now today, which is now past. That game's now over. Because and I think the reason we didn't really get much on goaltending yesterday was, we both hated goals 3 and 4 from Georgiev. We both took to Twitter and was like, it's Eustace time right now. And then Eustace comes in.
Couple of 5 cheese
and
goals.
He allows a couple of ducks. And it was clear that, at least certainly in that 7-0 loss yesterday, that goaltending wasn't the issue. I mean, it wasn't good, but they didn't even score a goal. They had no energy. They had nothing. So it was more than just the goaltending. So we didn't even really get to the goaltending, but I wanted to talk about it because, as that game ended yesterday, somebody asked me, who do you think is starting tomorrow? And I said, Eustace. Eustace is starting tomorrow. But then, moments later, in Bednar's post-game availability, he said, no, Georgiev is going to start tomorrow. I was like, huh. And here's why I said, huh. And I know Eustace came in relief for Georgiev and wasn't much better. Hey, he only allowed 3 goals over the course of 2 periods. Now, they were one of them for sure was like, dude. But the reason I would have started Eustace today is in this stretch of mid goaltending from Georgiev, he's started all these games. They haven't taken him out once. They haven't given Eustace one start, one formal start. There's a difference between coming off the pine with 4 minutes to go in the first period, and you weren't prepared for that. You had not been mentally prepared. And I know this might sound a little excusey, but there is a difference from that to telling Eustace after the Vegas game, you're starting tomorrow. Plane ride to Vegas, tonight in Vegas, tomorrow morning.
Get your head right.
Yep. Prepare. You are starting. So no surprises, no nothing. I'm surprised they didn't do that. I'm surprised they didn't give him a formal start. He hasn't had one in this run. His last start was a win in Minnesota. So I don't know, man. I just would have started him today. And Georgiev was good. I still just would have. On the second day of a back-to-back, it was supposed to be his start had he not come in for Georgiev. I just would have given him a formal start. Just one before the season ends.
Without a doubt. And who knows what Thursday is going to be.
Yeah.
Thursday could be Thursday will likely be a throwaway for both teams. Right? Because Edmonton's locked into the 2 seed, aren't they?
They can get the 1...
If they win out and Vancouver does not if they win out and Vancouver doesn't garner a point.
Yes. If Vancouver loses out, including no points, loses out in regulation, and Edmonton wins out.
Sake of argument, Edmonton's locked in as the number 2. No one has anything to play for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a throwaway game.
I suppose Eustace is starting in that respect. And it's funny. I was joking about this. Watch. This game means nothing on Thursday, but the Avs play well and Eustace has a good start. And part of me, some of us will be like, that was a good start by Eustace. And then others will be like, against nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned nothing. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
It's so confusing right now. It's disappointing. It's disappointing, and I hope they do the right thing. I hope you start the kid because the room has lost confidence in Georgiev. They've lost all confidence in him.
We were talking during the break, man. I go back to when Georgiev flipped that. It was several games ago. This is a few weeks ago now. Flipped a puck into the stands after allowing, maybe it was his 4th goal for Georgiev. And Devon shot him a look. Like, dude. Like the breaking of the sticks, the flipping the pucks into the crowd, a delay of game penalty was called on Georgiev there, or unsportsmanlike, whatever it was. It was when I saw that look that Taves shot Georgiev, I was like, huh.
Mark Springer, Alex Ryan-Emby between the pipes. We'll get you some scores from around the NHL, also some bet the pipes. There's still a couple of games to be played, one game to be played tonight, and then a bunch coming up on Monday. A packed NHL slate of 8 games tomorrow evening. Scotty Scheffler wins his second Masters, his second major championship. We'll take one final time out, wrap it up on the other side.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 congratulates our 2024 Bracket Madness winner, Alex.
Yes, this is Alex.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you very much.
You get the airfare for two, you get the team hotel stay, you got tickets to game one, the playoffs, you got dinner for two. How did you go about selecting the bracket?
College basketball is not my strong suit. I have a buddy at work, he's a huge UConn fan and said they were going to win, and then I have an uncle that went to Purdue, so that's just how I picked.
I love it. So you're staying at the team hotel. Where are you hoping to be at? I mean, we don't know where the stay is going to be. What are you hoping for?
Somewhere warm, preferably. I'll be happy with anything. I thought New Orleans would be cool. Never been there. If I got to go somewhere in California, that I wouldn't be too upset about going there.
Thanks to everyone who entered Altitude Sports Radio's Bracket Madness. And thanks again to Colorado Off-Road, COOffroad.com, and Cheyenne Frontier Days, the granddaddy of them all. Tickets at CFRodeo.com.
Did you know that 1 in 10 Coloradans has unclaimed property, like unpaid wages or uncashed checks? Now you have the power to claim your property thanks to the Great Colorado Payback. The process is simple and secure. First, find yourself by typing in your name. Then, we'll guide you through the identity verification process. Once we know it's you, we'll mail you a check. Get back what's yours. Visit colorado.findyourunclaimedproperty.com to get started.
Brought to you by the Colorado Department of Treasury and the Colorado Broadcasters Association.
He scores! All hail Kale!
Come cheer on your Colorado Avalanche at Ball Arena. Watch as Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, and the rest of the team takes the ice and battles during the push to the playoffs.
Rantanen has it. He scores! The Moose is loose!
You won't want to miss the action. Get your tickets now at ColoradoAvalanche.com.
We all love to see a hat trick. Good things come in threes. Oh, yeah. Moshier this spring, my partners at Rock Plumbing, Heating, and Air will simplify your life with an awesome hat trick. A 3-for-1 special for all new customers. Furnace and air conditioning maintenance with a water heater flush for only $199. That's almost $400 in savings, but it's for a limited time, so you have to book before April 30th. Just go to rockheating.com. That's ROCK heating.com. Rock, bringing comfort home and simplifying your life.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise that QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced and regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics at 719-581-6626 for a free consultation. Locations in Superior, Aurora, and Colorado Springs. 719-581-6626.
He scores! All hail Kale!
Come cheer on your Colorado Avalanche at Ball Arena. Watch as Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, and the rest of the team takes the ice and battles during the push to the playoffs.
Rantanen has it. He scores! The Moose is loose!
You won't want to miss the action. Get your tickets now at ColoradoAvalanche.com.
Sports talk for sports fans. We talk football.
If you have Health First Colorado, Colorado's Medicaid program, or Child Health Plan Plus, also known as CHIP, eligibility reviews are resuming. Have you changed your phone number or email address in the last 3 years? Have you moved? It's important we're able to reach you. Go to keepcocovered.com to learn how to update your contact information. Get notified when it's your time to renew by updating your communication preferences. Some members will be automatically renewed. Others will receive renewal paperwork that must be completed, signed, and returned right away. If you need help completing your paperwork, contact your county Human Services Department. Don't risk a gap in your health coverage. Learn more at keepcocovered.com. Brought to you by the Department of Healthcare Policy and Financing and the Colorado Broadcasters Association.
Colorado Avalanche Hockey, you're Between the Pipes. Presented by Safeway on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Avs fall 4-3 to the Vegas Golden Knights, surrendering a 3-goal lead. They need to win their they're locked into the 3 seed now, right? Colorado? Did we figure that out?
Oh, no. It's not over yet.
Technically not over? But
No,
Seattle plays...
Winnipeg needs to lose out.
All right, Winnipeg needs to lose out in regulation.
Yes, in regulation.
And Colorado needs to beat Edmonton on Thursday in any fashion, and then you can be the 2 seed. However, I think Winnipeg has a pretty simple schedule remaining. They take on...
They got Seattle on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, that's toast.
Now, they do have Vancouver on Thursday. So if somehow the Seattle Kraken could win in regulation on Tuesday, it's alive. But, I mean, Seattle lost 4-1 in St. Louis today. It's been a down season for them. They were a playoff team last year, any given day. It's unlikely.
Yeah, they lost 4-1 to the Blues on the road today. Jordan Kyrou had a goal. Braden Shen had a goal in that one, but... that was a pretty straightforward win for St. Louis today. It's tied at 1 right now at the end of 2 periods in Chicago between the Hurricanes and the Blackhawks. Jordan Staal gets his 10th of the season. Frank Nazar gets his first of the year for the Blackhawks. We've got a late game tonight. Yotes are plus 105 road dogs against the Calgary Flames. That's a 6 p.m. start, so about 10 minutes from right now. You touching that one, Spring?
Yeah, that'll be my Bet the Pipes pick. Let's go with the over 6 in that one. I think I was seeing it at minus 125, something in that neighborhood. Give me the over 6. I mean, this game means nothing for either teams. Maybe that just means 1 million goals are scored tonight. I mean, you get names out there. Kadri's playing on one side, Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz on the other side. I could see some goals being scored in this game, over 6.
I'm going to go back to the well on Monday night to the Pittsburgh Penguins, who unfortunately came up just a little bit short in a 6-4 loss to the Bruins the other night. Give me Pittsburgh to cover the 1.5 at plus 180. I don't think they go out with a whimper. Monday night, 5 p.m. That'll do it for us. For Mark Springer, for Jordan Berg behind the glass, I'm Alex Ryan-Emmy. Next time that you will hear our voices will be on Thursday evening as the Avs take on the Edmonton Oilers from Ball Arena. 7:30 puck drop, 7 p.m. pregame show on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. The Nuggets will start their postseason run, their title defense on Saturday as the 2 seed, and it remains to be seen when the Avs and the Jets will face off or where they will face off in their first round matchup. But for Mark, for Jordan, I'm Raj. We'll see you Thursday. Tune in tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. for Brett Keane.
The Nuggets, the Avalanche, the NFL Draft, 2 MVPs, and the countdown to the playoffs. Altitude Sports Radio, 92.5.
Did you know that 1 in 10 Coloradans has unclaimed property, like unpaid wages or uncashed checks? Now you have the power to claim your property thanks to the Great Colorado Payback. The process is simple and secure. First, find yourself by typing in your name. Then, we'll guide you through the identity verification process. Once we know it's you, we'll mail you a check. Get back what's yours. Visit Colorado.com.